that when he was introduced to speak, he would often say that he is here to be with you because that's where he's supposed to be at that moment. And I'm paraphrasing it. And I know how close Ozzy and Jimmy, I don't know, and know how close I know how close Ozzy and Jimmy and Grace were, as far as Ruby T were.
Yeah.
This is about our journey. This Grace is celebration, but this is about our journey as well. As we gather here, all of us here, and I'm moved by just the overwhelming presence of this group, men and women who have engaged in struggle, young men and women who are just entering, struggling, and those who we are nurturing to carry on the struggle are all here in this room. Where just recently, so also this extraordinary grouping of this kind of rainbow of what this struggle is about, from all ethnicities and all ages, what this struggle is about. That's what Grace Boggs has been about all of her life. And when I think about this moment, as I thought about this moment, coming here for the last 7 weeks, because this is the first time that I've been in the United States in 7 weeks. And when I thought about this, it seemed that every single thing that happened to me in that period of time brought me in close connection with this moment. With this moment. The work, whether it was in Rwanda, and standing there as I was standing there moved by the extraordinary effort that the Rwandan people are making to heal, as I stood at the memorial itself of genocide, among the remains of more than 300,000 people buried in one place, buried in a place that you can't imagine 300,000 people even being able to be and stand. Or to be in a place in Zanzibar, film festival, doing some work with UNICEF and talking to young people who are plagued with the issues of substance abuse, who are dealing with the issues around HIV/AIDS and dealing with the issues of how do we talk about sustaining who we are as people in this vast, complex world. All of those moments brought me to this moment right here. Not knowingly, as I thought about being there, and often mentioning to people that I'm going to celebrate the 94th birthday of this extraordinary woman who has given so much to the struggle here, not only here in Detroit, but the struggle that we look at struggle across the globe over the course of our life. Over the course of our life. So as we stand here, often in celebrations, we have the opportunity to reimagine ourselves, to re-energize ourselves, by the moment ourselves. Certainly Grace would want us to re-energize ourselves at this particular moment. It's not simply the celebration of the 94th birthday, but it's also the celebration of us. The celebration of the work that we have to do, the work that we have to continue to do, and the complexity of this work. It's going to take all of the discussions that we have here right now among us and more to be able to get at the source of the work, that work, and to make sure that that work itself is carried out through our next generation and those next young leaders that are here that we are nurturing at this moment. It is that part of it, of Grace's life. It's so phenomenal. Imagine, born 2 years before the Bolshevik Revolution and still here. Dialogue, course of action, and the dynamics context of that course of action occurring all throughout her life, through movements, not just plain theory, but movements, not just sitting around at some isolated place talking about what we should be doing, but doing nothing. Excuse me, when you introduced my man as a man in the 60s, at 62 years old, I was around every Fanon in the 60s as well. From talking about Fanon, or before Fanon's writing, Nkrumah, Theodore James, all of those great thinkers, men and women, who are trying through this extraordinary process of history, and making their history, being the architects of the history of that moment. We make the history, as Paul Robeson said, that each generation makes its own history. We've made our history and continue to make our history. And Grace has continued to make that history as she's nurtured these ideas around Detroit and the possibilities of here, the possibilities that exist here, the possibilities of reuniting our efforts and questions I heard at a meeting with Grace. What it is to be a human being in the 21st century? What does it mean to be a human being? What does it here to develop the relationships, the life-affirming relationships that we're destined to have, and we must have, not only for our own survival as a human species, but the survival of the planet itself? What does all that mean? Those are just as fundamental questions as they were 70 years ago, or 80 years ago. We have the chance now, at this very critical moment, to really find our pathway and to really assert our pathway with all the changes that have happened. We exist in a failed paradigm. It has failed us. Human development, social development, and it failed everything that is needed to happen to sustain human life. It has failed. That's right. It has failed. How do we come out of these ashes and bring out of these ashes the ideas, the motivation, the spirit of this particular moment, and take it to the next step? Those are the questions that Grace sits here at 94 years old, asking herself every moment of the day. And she invites us, every single one of us, and those beyond us, to ask those same questions. So we're here to celebrate that. That's why it was so important for me to be here, to be with you. I couldn't imagine anything better to do. I couldn't imagine what this place would look like, but it's everything beyond my imagination as we move forward in the 21st century. I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for being a part of my life. And certainly, I'm going to soak up whatever I can from you as long as you're here and as long as you're able and willing to give it. Thank you so much.